Hello, my name is Demetrius Daniel, and this is my another confessional for the Harvard Diversity Project for yesterday's meeting. So we talked about a lot of things. We had a side argument. Well, I got a new chair. I built it myself. But besides that, let's talk about how I felt before, during, and after. Before, I felt comfortable. I felt like the repetition and the amount of times that I've been doing it, and like all of the times that I've been doing it kind of is sinking in. So I feel like comfortable with it now. I kind of feel like it's kind of the norm, um, which I am happy about. I mean, I always feel a little bit queasy before class, but I mean that happens every single time, so it's not really different anymore. So I felt a little bit nervous, and I um, showed up, and so I went there, got my temperature taken, so I went upstairs, and everyone was like hi to me, just having me. I was like hi, so I felt welcome and stuff like that, and that was good. I think the beginning was really kind of the beginning of the fire, because I was in like a really heated mood yesterday, mainly because the morning before it I was mad. I was in a bad mood yesterday morning because I woke up and I realized that I had accidentally put my pants and shirt to dry for 44 minutes instead of 99, and it like looked kind of the same, so it didn't dry all the way, so they were still kind of wet, and so I was mad about that because I had no idea that they even happened. So I was like, okay, I have wet clothes. What am I gonna do? So thankfully, I woke up kind of early that day so that I could like prepare for it and everything. So I tried ironing it first. I thought like maybe ironing would get the water out and stuff like that, and it didn't work. So I was mad about that too. And so then I had to, not only that, but I accidentally washed it with like a red shirt, so it was like a teeny bit pink, and it was just bad. And so then I had to go and try and dry it again. And I had to go take a shower and get my stuff together. And I was really mad. I was just pissed, and I was just like, oh my god, this morning is trash. I want it to be done. Everything worked out. Thankfully, I bought more shirts, so I was able to use those, and I had my pants dried, and it was fine. And so I feel like that was really the beginning and the reason that I was so heated in class. Maybe a little bit too heated, but we won't talk about that. And also in the beginning during circle time, people kept forgetting the rules of the game that were literally so simple, and I was like, oh my gosh, y'all blurt out the answer one more time for the person. So that kind of got me heated too. But during class, I felt really, again, welcome, and I felt really comfortable in there. I was expecting not the same vibe that we usually have, since like half of us weren't going to be there because of school. They went to school, and I was thinking like I wasn't sure if it was gonna be the same, but I mean, it was pretty much the same vibe as it kind of usually is, I think. So I'm just really happy about that. During the crossfires, I got really, really heated, like to the point where I was kind of like, me and Monty were kind of like shouting, shouting at them. But it was all in the heat of the argument, because I was kind of like, I don't think I did not take it offensively. I don't think I took it offensively at all. It was kind of just like in the heat of the argument, it kind of like it kind of just I kind of just let it happen, and I kind of was like put in that scenario, and I was kind of just like I let loose, and so I basically got really mad. Well, I wasn't mad, but I was heated and kind of shouting, maybe a little bit too aggressive, but I felt powerful. I don't know. I felt bad though also. I feel like I was being like really too aggressive. And then after class, I felt relieved. I felt satisfied. I feel like I knew. Oh my god, that time where y'all tricked us and said that we were going to that y'all were gonna introduce a new cohort at the same time. I didn't necessarily I didn't really get any hint that it was a trick until when Fleming was saying that y'all could not interact with each other. And that sounded really suspicious, because I was like, why wouldn't we be able to talk to them at all? That doesn't make any sense. And it kind of seemed like you were like putting a preset of rules, just like the other times. My brain kind of tried to like connect those two together, But then I was like kind of making excuses for it. I was like, oh, well, he probably wouldn't work if we were all on like a Zoom call together, like 50 people. That would kind of be too much. And we can't do it physically because of COVID and stuff like that. But then I was like thinking like, well, we could have half of that at the certain times, and I don't know. That kind of tried to the beginning of giving it away, and then it got to the point where I wouldn't say that I was indifferent. I think that it was weird because I was thinking of I was kind of weighing the pros and the cons. Like, pros, we get 25 more scholars in Atlanta that are going to become re-educated, and they would be able to come with us to the program. So that's twice the chance that we're going to win. So I don't really mind that at all. But then also, we're going to get less time, so we're not going to become... I want to be like I want to be like a beast, you know what I mean? And so it's like, if we lose time, that's gonna be less beastly that I could be. So I was kind of like, is it better for us to all win, to have a better chance of winning and sharing the thing, or should or like become like beasted? And I kind of chose being beasted in front of that, and I really don't feel bad about it. I really don't feel bad about it. Because it's like, I'm no shade. I don't have shade to anybody, but it's like, we already got in. So it's like, what do you want me to do? But, anyways, that was very, very interesting. But anyways, I know that a big part of it is supposed to be teaching the information back to you. So, but I'm gonna just give some info. I really, really enjoyed the Crossfire. Like, I really, really enjoyed it because I feel like that was the first time, like, going into it, I was literally shaking. Like, I was literally shaking, if I am being 100% like real. Like, I was actually really nervous. Like, I was like shaking. And I was like really, really nervous to do this. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, why am I so nervous? Am I gonna be like this on like the Harvard when we go to the residency? And so I was like, oh my gosh, why am I so nervous? And I had to kind of like calm myself down. But then by the end of it, I was kind of just like flowing with it, and I wasn't nervous at all, and it became really, really fun. I did not, but I was really happy. I feel like that went really well, so I enjoyed that part a lot. Just wanted to put that out there just because I wanted to do it again. But here are some of the things that I got from yesterday's meeting. It's called weighing, when you are comparing to, like, how I was weighing, had the pros and cons of like, okay, what would happen if we added the new cohort, and what if we kept it all to ourselves? Like, I was kind of weighing those two. Scenarios. And so we took the example of COVID in school. So like, okay, well, and a really good way to do that is by putting it to the extreme. So like how we did in class is we said, okay, so let me use a different example because we're teaching this. So when you are comparing two scenarios where you say this is what would happen if we let this happen, and this is what would happen if we let choice B happen. And so we have to weigh the two possibilities to see which one is more detrimental and which one is better for everyone. And so a really good way to do that and measuring is by putting it to the extreme. So let's say there is let's say that there is like a leakage or like some kind of oil spill in like a lake that had like a lot of water. So it's like, let's put it to the extreme. So either the government has to kind of clean up the oil. Well, but if they do that, it's gonna cost a lot of stuff. So we're not gonna have any kind of power or any food production. So it's like either we don't leave it and we don't have clean water except for the packages that we already have made, or B, we have water but we don't have any food supply. Something like that. And for this example, we use COVID in school. Either we all go back to school and we all get COVID, possibility, or the COVID chances is raised super high, or we all stay home and we don't learn as well, and we are all dumb. And that's kind of what we did. So another thing was that the actors are really important. So how, like, the kids that are going to school, the educators, the principals, um, the school district, and stuff like that. And something that we talked about during class because of Colleen, well, not like that, but you know what I mean, like Colleen brought this up, or it was exceptionalism, and she was talking about, like, oh yeah, I've learned a lot about taxes, and I've learned about a lot of things about life that I haven't learned at school. And Fleming was like, okay, but that's just you. Not everybody is going to be like you, so that's exceptionism, not the fallacy, because not everyone's going to be like you. So another thing that is that debaters give 3 contentions. So in this case, we are having 2 debaters, and they are arguing about should we include ethics in law. And then one debater brings up 3 scriptures, Scripture 1, Scripture 2, and Scripture 3, and they have subpoints X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, and you agree with Scripture 2, or their interpretation of Scripture 2, but you don't agree with their interpretation of Scripture 1 and 3. And so instead of attacking the Scripture, which you can't really, because it's Scripture, you want to attack. You want to group it all into one thing, and you want to attack the foundation. So what we did is we grouped it all into the to the umbrella of religion, and we used the separation of church and state to attack the entire foundation. That's less work. Instead of having to attack each subpoint and get you tired and take up a lot of more work, you group it all into one thing, eliminate the foundation, and that's a lot less work that you have to do, and it eliminates all of it. And that's how you get from problem to solvency. And then one of those things. So that was a really big way of that. Another thing that we touched on was that morality is subjective, and that was another one of the problems that we faced. And that utilitarian is about is that the most desired outcome by any means necessary. And the means and the outcome are 2 different things. Like we talked about how Adolf Hitler and Martin Luther King were such good leaders, but with Hitler, obviously, it was not necessarily good what he was doing, but he was so convinced, and he had the power to convince other people of the outcome. They were saying, oh yeah, we can do so much better. The Jews are horrible. They are ruining the world. If we can get rid of them all, it will be a perfect, happy, great world. I think he was also talking about how blonde hair, blue-eyed people should only exist, but that's a whole, I don't know if that's all it. But his outcome, everyone liked. And he kind of justified the outcome and the means, so that instead of proving anything, which is why, like, proving, it's more important to justify what you're saying than to prove it. It's not about proving it, it's about justifying. So either way, his means were not the greatest, but the outcome everyone agreed with, or like with the Thanos example as well. And we also talked about how the means is going to be either or, ethical, or utilitarian, utility, and they're either or. They're not going to be the same. It's really rare case that they are the same. And the best argument is both ethical and utilitarian, because we want the argument that's the solution that's the most inclusive. So that's so obviously you want it to be both utilitarian and ethical. More that we talked about was how politics began with religion, which makes a lot of sense, because when you have these early on people, they don't know how they got there. They're craving answers, they're craving connection, they're craving any kind of way to figure out how they got, how on earth they got on earth, and how on earth they got onto earth, right? They want to figure that out. So if somebody random comes up and says, oh yeah, I just talked to God, he spoke to me, I have a connection with God, and he told me everyone that I should be the president because him and I have a connection, or that y'all should give taxes to me because he told me that. And they are so desperate for the answers that this person is giving them, that they're going to follow and do what they say. And so it became more powerful and controlling over people, which makes sense because politics is the study of power. That was aggressive, but that is exactly why. And so that's why it was used to control people and with their whole obsession of religion and stuff like that. So, and then we got into the whole aspects of the four. So let me also talk about, let's talk about how my conversation with my parents went. I kind of explained to them about the whole like ethics, about how religion became politics. I talked about it with my mom, stepdad, and I talked about it with my dad too. And I was again more hesitant with my dad because he is not the most, he's very religious, and I don't think he'll be very open-minded. And he'd be like, oh my gosh, you're questioning your faith, or we have to put you in some camp or something so that you could, or some club that you can restore your faith and all that stuff. So I didn't want to talk to him about that, but I did. And he seemed to understand the whole like, oh, politics is began by religion. And I brought it up and I asked him if he thought that, and he said yes, because, well, he said she said he wasn't really sure. And then I explained it to him from the beginning, telling him that, well, people in the beginning, they wanted answers to why they were on this earth, just like I explained to you guys just now. And the way that they can do that, people could just jump up and say that they were enlightened. And I explained to him with the walk him through the lesson, and he seemed to really understand it at the end. And I was really happy that he was able to be open-minded and stuff. And then I talked to mom and my stepdad about how the Bible isn't necessarily accurate as source because, or like how religion is built by man, and it's not really good because there has to be a God. And I put them like everything in this world and the entire universe is perfect almost. So how can, like, there's atheism, it doesn't make any sense because all this had to happen from some way. Like, it had to happen by someone. There's no way that all this just happened randomly. So there's got to be somebody that's pulling the strings and was able to create all of this, right? And then I explained to them how I lost my train of thought with how religion is always a man's interpretation of God. So how people are saying like, oh yeah, this and that is a sin and all this kind of stuff. Like, they said that black people were like less than there, I think, in the Bible as well. So it's like, I don't believe a lot of things that's there. That's just my opinion. So like, oh yeah, like homosexuality is a sin and stuff like that. But it's like, this is all man's interpretation of God. And then they're talking about how they were inspired by God, and so that's why we're gonna put this in the Bible. But God's not judging this. He's not saying, oh, okay, we're gonna let this one in, we're gonna let this one in. I remember talking to that fool. That was like last week. I remember let's put this in. Oh, I don't remember talking to you. Go somewhere. Like, he's not saying all of this. Man is saying, okay, I believe that he spoke to you. I believe that he spoke to you. Oh, that doesn't make any sense, you know. Like, what gives man, who is the same of equal value as somebody else, what gives them the right or the authority to say, oh yeah, this person was not inspired, this person does not make any sense? Like, that doesn't make any sense, because we're of equal stature. We are equal. We are both human. So it doesn't make any sense as to why you are able to dictate if I am inspired or not. And then they might say like, oh yeah, I was inspired by God and he told me that you wouldn't say that. How am I supposed to know that you aren't lying yourself? So it's all a mess. It's all inaccurate. It's not accurate at all. None of it is. Not unless God were to come and in front of everyone in the world say what he wanted us to say, the entire everything is invalid. Because we are equal. So how are we supposed to interpret what God says? Anyways, that's what I explained to them about my whole spiel. And they all agree with it too. I know mom and them all, they all have huge faith. And I have faith still. It's just that I know there's somebody, but man's interpretation of it I don't agree with. Well, I'm about to be 20 minutes and I don't want to go over time. But I really want to again thank you for this opportunity, because I really, really am learning so much from it. And I really enjoyed the crossfire from last session. So I really enjoyed that. Anyways, it's about to be 20 minutes and like 10 seconds. So thank y'all so much. This has been Demetrius Daniel's Confessional. the Harvard Debate for Diversity Project. Signing off. Bye.